Oh, y'all, I've done every kind of exercise in the world. And when I was y'all age, I was so gung-ho. And I wanted to go and do, and I wanted to be firm and tone. And then one day I just said, I don't care. But, and that's a good feeling too. But when I was y'all's age, I was big into CrossFit. Do y'all have CrossFit here? Woo. I hope y'all don't end up in a boot. All right. It is bad mamma jamma. And they came to Knoxville, and these young boys in their early 20s opened it up, and they were darling. And they both had little fannies that looked like baseballs. And I wanted my fanny to look like a baseball. So I got my good friend Becky. Becky and I joined CrossFit together. For those of you who don't know, it's like military moves, push-ups, pull-ups, that kind of thing. They'd put a big tractor tire in the parking lot, and they'd set Becky in it, and I'd pull her across the parking lot while she held her purse. Well, these boys came to us one day, and they said, hey, we're going to have a contest, and whoever wins it gets 3 months of free training. And it's going to be for the women and for the men. It's going to last 10 weeks. We're going to take your before and after picture, and then the whole gym's going to vote on whose body has changed the most. And we were like, yes. So one day, we show up, didn't know it was picture day. I had on a horrible looking sports bra that had lost all of its support, and I should have bizzed it the night before. It had a gray tint to it, and it really wasn't gray, it was white. And if I'd have known it was going to be picture day, I'd have gotten a spray tan. But anyway, they said, take your top off to me and Becky, and they go, just leave on your sports bra and your spandex, and we're going to take your picture. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And I didn't want those little boys to not ever want to marry and have children. So I said, Becky, me and you, we're going in the back. I said, I'm taking Becky's picture and she'll take mine. So we went in the back room, and Becky went. And I said, what are you doing, Becky? Don't you want to win this thing? I want to win it. So I took my spandex and shoved it under my stomach and went. Thank you. Oh, it was a sight. These kids put it on the internet because that's what kids do. So if y'all Google it and you see this poor woman with her head cut off with these 2 feed sacks, oh, it was a sight. But what they said, they go, okay, and when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, you are what you eat, and I look like a big bun, is what I look like. But they said, you're going to eat paleo, and it's what God put upon the earth to sustain us. So if you can run it down and kill it, dig it out of the ground, pick it off of a bush, you can eat it. So that's lean meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, and seeds. That's no grain, no dairy. When's the last time any of y'all ever got off of white flour? Anybody? Oh, and you still can yell. Okay. Good for you. Oh my gosh, I had the shakes. Becky and I both were shaking. We drank a bunch of coffee. Then we had to have our teeth whitened. Anyway, my husband said, you are so hateful. Will you please eat a piece of white bread? I mean, it was awful. I mean, oh, how horrible if somebody had to get off of heroin. I mean, and I don't know what that's like, but I watched Shaft when I was little, and I remember it being a booger when somebody had to get off of heroin. This felt similar. It may not have been. Anyway, they took the after picture, and I made sure I had a spray tan. Let me tell you that, honey, because a spray tan takes 12 pounds off of you. Anyway, I had a spray tan. I had on a really cute sports bra and spandex. And I took mine, and I'm ashamed to tell y'all, but I won that thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so ashamed that y'all are giving me that love. I know y'all are thinking, So they said, for 10 weeks, you're going to do CrossFit 3 days a week, and you're going to do the paleo diet. The paleo diet is what God put upon this earth to sustain us. And He knows what we need. So it's lean meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, and seeds. So if you can run it down and kill it, dig it out of the ground, pick it off of a bush, you can eat it. That means no dairy, no grains of any kind. But when they take it, lean meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and berries, you think, that's not so bad. Okay, but no dairy, no grains. When's the last time anybody in here got off of white flour? Anybody, can you clap? Can you clap, or are you too weak? Anybody here been hooked on heroin? Anybody? I've never been hooked on heroin, praise God, but I was raised watching Shaft. I don't know if y'all watched that when y'all were little on TV, and they would always have somebody getting off of heroin. It looked like a booger. It looked like an awful booger. And I'm not trying to belittle that, but I'm telling you, I shook getting off of sugar and white flour. I was drinking coffee 24 hours a day. My teeth got yellow. I had to have those bleached. My husband said, "You are so hateful. Will you please eat a piece of white bread?" But Church of God Beacon, I did it, honey. We did it. And I mean, then they took our after picture. It took, 10 weeks later, and I did not lose that much weight. It was like 8 or 9 pounds, but my body turned into somebody else's body, honey. And it was pretty cute. And I leaned out and I thought, oh my gosh. And so then they took our after picture, and I made sure I got a spray tan. And I had a really good bra on, and I took that picture. And I'm ashamed to tell y'all, but I won that competition. No, stop. I don't deserve to be applauded. I know y'all are thinking, oh gosh, Leanne, that's wonderful, but what happened? What happened, Leanne? I'll tell you what happened. I did okay for about 3 weeks, and then I spotted a tortilla. That's what happened. The reason why I'm so in love with him, he's an old soul. Have y'all ever known anybody that was just born an old soul? He was born an 80-year-old man. All right, let me tell y'all why I say that. He has had a garden since he was in middle school. He has just always loved to learn and had all these nifty things that he's been into. Like, he raised chickens. He was in Berry College. They have enterprises, business enterprises, and he started the cage-free egg enterprise. He raised 200 chickens while he was in college. Do y'all want to know what I was doing at the University of Tennessee in the 80s? I mean, let's just get it out of the way. Have I made out with anybody in here? Anybody? I was in terrible sin. And I was down at Gabby's on the Strip. I don't know if any of y'all remember that Sodom and Gomorrah. I was dancing to Prince, but anywho. So anyway, all right, so he had his own garden. He now cans his own food. He can can food. Are y'all listening to me? He loved gospel bluegrass in high school. Honey, that's his favorite music that he loved. So I brought him to Dr. Ralph Stanley. I don't know if y'all remember Dr. Ralph. He just passed away, 90-something years old, godfather of Mountain. So I brought my son to the Bijou to see him. They propped little Dr. Ralph up on stage. Looked like he had a permanent. I almost threw my panties at him because that's what you do at Tom Jones. Anywho, so we're sitting out in the audience while Dr. Ralph's up here singing, and I thought, how many teenage boys are listening to this? Gospel bluegrass. What are they listening to, real teenage? You know, all right, Waka Flocka Flame. Rihanna, Lady Gaga, all that nasty goings on. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had to yell at my boy, turn that gospel bluegrass down? You're out of control. If I hear, I saw the light one more time. My husband, there's two things on this earth that make him happy. A clean house and sex. Oh, lucky me. I like a clean house too. But I'm too fun to clean. I want somebody else to do it, you know? So to make my husband happy, I got to where I would just pour bleach in certain parts of the house. And so when he came home, he'd smell it and think that I had been cleaning. It worked for a little while, and then he caught on to me. And he said, if you'll have sex with me twice a week, I'll get you a maid. No. And then, he said, well, if you don't start taking care of my needs, I guess I'm going to have to get a girlfriend. I said, oh, dear Lord, say it's not so. I said, well, make sure that she's stout and that she can mow, because I need some help. So I found out in the United States there's called competition cheer. And we have it here in Knoxville. It's called the Sharks. Premier Sharks. So I dropped her off so that she could audition or try out or whatever you call it for that. And she came out, ended up making like a bad Mama Jamma squad, because all the little children her age came up to here on her, and somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they said, oh my gosh, we want her so bad. And they said, you're going to drop her off 2 days a week, and she's going to learn this 2.5-minute routine, and it's going to cost you $150 a month. And I said, okay. And then they said, there's a uniform that we're going to order for her, and it's sequin up the sleeves, and it comes to right here, and it's going to expose her stomach, and then it's going to have a tiny little skirt with it, with a slit in it, with a glitter panty underneath it. And that's $300. And it comes with its own bag of makeup and a bow. And I called it a whore outfit. And that little bag of whore makeup made all the little children look like whores together. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands, and you're going to compete against other little whore children. So we drove to Atlanta and Cincinnati and places like that. And we'd drive up to a big coliseum that would be pitch black in it. And there would be music pumping and lights, and there'd be a darling feminine boy announcing. And there would be tens of thousands of little whore children walking around And they would say, you and your husband need to pay $150 for her to be in this competition. And you each need a armband that costs $30 to get in to see your baby in this competition. The corn dogs cost $15. Summer's almost over, and I don't know where it went. Do y'all feel that way? It just seems like it just left. Okay, and every summer I think, oh gosh, I've got to go buy a bathing suit. And now it's over, and I barely even wore one. What I've been wearing is my swim dress. Because my life is over. I did a show for a bunch of women, and one of the women came up and she said, you know, you ought to go to Sears and get you a swim dress in the Land's End department. And I thought, should this hurt my feelings? So I did. I went to the Sears in Knoxville, Tennessee. They've still got our Sears open. I don't know if y'all's is open or not in Chattanooga. Okay, ours, you go in, there's not a soul in there. The lights are on. Nobody's shopping. Nobody's working. I mean, I felt creeped out, and I thought, are they running dope out of Sears? So I bought me a Land's End swim dress, and I gotta tell y'all, I'm beautiful in it. Okay. It gathers in right here where my hernia mesh is. And it shows my arms that I still have, because they're my daddy's. Jimmy Fletcher, I've still got his arms. Okay, I've still got my collarbones, praise God. And then it covers up the white flour and the sugar, so I just get a spray tan and I'm good. Well, for years I was in torment wearing a miracle suit. I don't know if any of y'all have bought a miracle suit before. I know they've got them at y'all's Belk. I know they got them, and there's going to be a big gob of them hanging together because they have hundreds of them. And I wore one year. I felt so desperate after I couldn't wear a bikini anymore. I wore a lavender one in Hawaii, and my husband and I went, and they took this scuba video of us scuba diving, and I popped that video in from Maui, and I thought, oh, I can't wait, and this like big lavender thing goes by, and I'm like, what is that? Destroyed that video. It's awful. But anyway, so I get this miracle suit. They're at y'all's Belk, and it's got a big sign that says lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. Miracle suit. You do, because you sweat yourself to death trying to get it on. Because it's got a girdle in it. The girdle's right through here because it's one piece. So the girdle's right through here. It smooths you out real pretty through here because it squeezes your fat out in every other hole. And don't get it wet because somebody will have to cut it off of you. But I would get it every year because I felt desperate and I didn't know what else to do. Well, my girlfriend, the one with the poop, banked up poop, okay, she wanted one, and her 14-year-old daughter drove to Knoxville to the Dillards and got in the dressing room, and the 14-year-old was in there sacking her mama up in this bathing suit, and they both broke out in the sweat over their lip, and the 14-year-old said, ew. Mom. Gross. Let's put it back and get out of here. She said, I can't. I've got to buy it. I just peed in it. Well, all over the United States, they've got this thing called competition cheer. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets the Olympics. Really. It's gymnast. They're gymnasts. And there's one in Knoxville called the Sharks. And they said, drop your baby off and she can try out to audition, whatever you want to call it. So I dropped her off, and they ended up putting her on a bad Mama Jamma team because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they were thrilled with her, and they treated us like royalty. But anyway, they said, you're going to come in here twice a week, learn a 2-minute routine. It's going to cost you $150 a month. It's like, okay. They said, there's a uniform that you're going to order, and it comes to here. It's going to expose her stomach. She's going to have a tiny skirt on with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. It's $300. I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. So that all the little children could look alike. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. So we went to like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And we had to get hotel rooms and the gas and all of that. And then you drive up to a big coliseum, a huge coliseum. And there's tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And my husband said, there could be pedophiles here. This is the awfulest thing I've ever, something's not right. Okay, so then they said, you're going to pay $150 for your baby to be in this competition. You're going to have to pay $30 to put a band on to get in and watch your baby in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Okay. They start out with the babies, so it goes from 5 to 18 ages. So the babies come out in a tiny little skirt about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front doing every move to keep their baby on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they move up throughout the day into my baby's age, and they're the reef sharks. They call out that name, honey, for 2.5 minutes. My baby throws little children up in the air, flinging little children, broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. Did you see my Spanx? Okay. All right. One of my girls said I look like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball in my Spanx. But anyway, so she throws these little children up. The little children she's throwing up in the air are the flyers. They call them the flyers. And they're freakishly tiny little children. I don't know where these people come from. Their mamas are freakishly tiny. I mean, I come from big people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. And the whole time she's throwing them in there, these little girls are going. And nobody knows why, really. So at the end of the routine, after the 2.5 minutes, the finale, everybody hunkers down on the stage, puts their forehead on the stage, and my baby is the finale. She pops up and has a little child's foot in her hand and holds that child's foot. I would put it all the way up, but my dress is tight in the back. But anyway, she holds this little child up over her head. Are y'all listening to me? I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, could you hold her up over your head or vice versa? I mean, you know, it's a big deal. So anyway, everybody went nuts. But she said, after it was over, she goes, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go back to playing. She ended up playing volleyball the rest of her childhood. But she said, I'm keeping that whore outfit. She said, I'm going to get married in it. I have 3 children that I'm in love with, and I am now an empty nester. I have 2 in college and 1 married. And you'd think I'd look forward to being an empty nester. Some people go, woo. I don't feel woo. I miss them. My husband misses them. I found Netflix when the last one left, my baby child, she's now 20, when she left, I took to the bed and I ate chocolate-covered blueberries that you get at Target. And I found Netflix and I binged watched Scandal. Have y'all seen Scandal? That first season, the chemistry between the 2 main characters, I think something's really going on. Anyway, it set me on fire. And so I laid up in the bed and watched that and ordered Jimmy John's from my bed. And my husband said, are you all right? But I ended up getting sciatica from laying in the bed. I didn't get bed sores. I got sciatica and then ended up having to get physical therapy that cost $1,000 because of my deductible. But anyway, I grieve so much over my kids being gone. All right, so when my husband gets home, he's as sad as I am. When he gets home, we just stare out into space. And he's very quiet. He's an introvert. He doesn't talk. He doesn't chat. So I just sit and talk to myself. And we have 2 beagle hounds, and we just sit and kiss them in the mouth. And they are yummy. And we go to bed. And a lot of y'all look really young in here, and I'm going to scare y'all to death. But I'm going to tell y'all, look at these young girls right here. I'm going to tell y'all what your future is going to be, okay? All right, when you get to be about your mid-40s, you're going to start a thing called perimenopause. It's before you go through menopause, and it makes you crazy. And you sweat in the bed at night. Okay, and all your hormones get messed up. All right, I go to the bedroom, and I am so hot at night that I put the air on 68 because I don't want to die. My husband puts it back up on 70. And he says, you're freezing me to death. He's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage. Okay. He said, I can see my breath. That's a lie. But I know he is cold because one time he had to wear a toboggan. But anyway, we get in the bed and that big beagle who is 10 years old, a boy named Augie, who is so sweet. My husband spoons him in the bed. And then we've got a new little beagle that is a pocket beagle, and her name is Gigi, and she is so yummy. And she had a nervous tick when we got her, and she ate our couch. But other than that, I love her. And she gets in the bed, and she backs her little butthole up against my head at night, right here. And when we get, all right, so when my husband spoons that big one will wall his eyes at me and looks like, I don't want him. I want you. Let me tell y'all how this all started between me and my husband. We met at the University of Tennessee while he was stalking me. He was so tickled with me. Okay, he was getting an MBA. I was finishing up my undergraduate. He is so smart and such an overachiever that he had already gotten an undergraduate, worked for 2 years, and got an MBA. I was just finishing mine up, my undergraduate, because I'm so fun. And I thought, oh my gosh, he is so smart. He can do math. He can reconcile a checkbook. There's no telling where we're going to go, what we're going to see, how we're going to live. Well, we graduated and he decided to buy a used mobile home business in Bean Station, Tennessee. And I know y'all don't know where Bean Station is. In the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Did any of y'all ever see Deliverance? I think they filmed that there. Beautiful, beautiful lakes and pretty and all that. But so he moved me there and he wanted me to be in sales for him at this used mobile home business. So I did that day. Until I saw a family drive up in a Gremlin with the window out and a 9-year-old smoking a cigarette. That's the truth. She lit it off of her Meemaw. And that's her grandmother. Do I need an interpreter? Okay. She lit it off her grandmama. And so I quit that day and I went home and I got pregnant that night. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I had 3 babies in 4.5 years. Yeah, it hurt. It did. I was pregnant and or breastfeeding for 6 straight years in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And let me tell y'all, when I found out about my 3rd baby, I feel terrible how I reacted, but I was so overwhelmed and so tired. But I knew that day I didn't feel right. I thought, what is wrong with me? I'm tired and I kind of feel sick. And I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick after this, because my girls were 20 months apart. So I had to know. I was crazy. I drove to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, and I took my 2 babies with me and the diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you. And I went into the Walmart and bought an EPT pregnancy test. I took it in the stall and I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me and said, "What, is it positive?" And it was. And I drove home just as fast as I could, and I called my husband at work, and I said, "You're trying to kill me, aren't you?" "Well, you're not going to, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me." But y'all little mamas probably know what I'm talking about. It's so overwhelming. We would be in the grocery store, and my 3-year-old little boy, so yummy, so sweet, would be in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out at the grocery store. I think, oh my gosh, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child going to think it's a milk dud? Just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. Oh, me. All right. Now they are grown. And I cannot believe it. It just flew by. My boy is 24 years old, and he is married. He got out of college. He met his college sweetheart his freshman year. He said he would never marry young, but he did, and he brought her home. And all right, who in here has had boys and girls? Can you clap? Who do you think's easier to raise? I mean, just yell it out. Boys or girls? Boys. Boys. Every once in a while, a little frail woman will yell, "Girl." And she's probably being threatened. But anyway, no. My boy is 24 years old, and he is married. He got out of college. He met his college sweetheart his freshman year. He said he would never marry young, but he did, and he brought her home. And all right, who in here has had boys and girls? Can you clap? Who do you think's easier to raise? I mean, just yell it out. Boys or girls? Boys. Boys, every once in a while, a little frail woman will yell, "Girl." And she's probably being threatened. But anyway, no. We love our girls. I love my girls. I truly do. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because my boy will be off with his wife and her people. Because he said to me, he brought her home and he said, "You've got a terrible look on your forehead." And I said, "Oh, it's nothing against her. It's just I'm jealous because I thought you would only love me." I know that's twisted. I know it is. But he was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, my kids all yell at me and my husband, everybody's in a bad mood all the time. And he's the only one that's never fussed at me. And he was just the sweetest child growing up. And so when he said he was going to marry somebody and move off, it was awful. But let me say that I love her. And they live near us. And she's like another child to me. And it has been a blessing. She is very sweet and has forgiven me for my forehead looks. But anyway, but he said to me right before they got married, he goes, "Mom, she's going to be my immediate family. You're now my extended family." He said, "Mom, that's biblical." I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Let me tell y'all about him. He's an old soul. Have you ever met anybody that was an old soul? He was born an 80-year-old man. He has had a garden since he was in 6th grade. He plays the mountain dulcimer and the banjo. He woodworks. He makes spoons. He makes spoons. I mean, he is so yummy. All right, his favorite music is gospel bluegrass. His favorite, oh, well, no. Okay. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. All right. His favorite artist was Dr. Ralph Stanley. Dr. Ralph, look at you. Knowing who Dr. Ralph Stanley is. Okay, for those of you who don't, he was on the Oh Brother Where Art Thou. That is probably the most famous thing he did. But he was the godfather of Mountain Soul. He ended up dying at like 92. And had a little cowboy hat propped on his head. Yummy. Okay, he would come through Knoxville and I would take my son to see Dr. Ralph when my son couldn't drive. They propped little Dr. Ralph up on stage because he was so old. I almost threw my panties at him because that's what you do to Tom Jones. And I love him. But anyway, I was standing there listening to Dr. Ralph Stanley singing gospel bluegrass, and I think to myself, how many teenage boys are listening to this? What are teenage boys listening to? Rihanna, Walk a Flock of Flame, some of that nasty goings on. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had to yell at my boy, turn that gospel bluegrass down. You're out of control. If I hear I Saw the Light one more time. My second baby is my oldest daughter who's about to graduate from the University of Tennessee. She's 22. And let me tell y'all, I know every crow thinks theirs is the blackest, but let me say that she is a beauty. And she is smart, and she's done very well in school, and she's in a sorority and done well with her sorority, and she's athletic, and she's mean. And we're scared to death of her. We walk on eggshells around her. She's not mean to other people or in public. She holds it in so that she can come home and like spew it out onto me. That's okay. That's God's way. But this is what I think happens. When she was a junior, her summer between her junior and senior year, I think that God allows this to happen. And you little girls, that your babies aren't this old, just listen to me. All right, one day they'll just turn on you. And you'll think, who in the world is this? Who's coming down the steps in the morning? We don't know who this is. I think that God allows that because He knows that you're about to let your baby go off to college or whatever they're going to do, and He knows that you're grieving. Let me tell y'all about her. I have treated her different from all the other ones, honey, because, all right, everything that she'd do, like she'd start crying when she's a baby, because babies, you know, the third, fourth, and fifth, you know, they cry, and you just let them. And I'd be like, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. I remember saying, I swear, I remember saying one time, you want those knives to play with? Okay. What? Okay. When she was at getting her driver's license, so different from when the first one got his. Honey, he got his, and we were so strict with him. We'd say, you can go to school, but you got to call us when you get there. You can only come home. And then after 6 months, we were like, you can go to Steak and Shake. And then you got to come home. So strict. Then the second one didn't care anything about driving, really didn't start till she was close to 17. Well, this baby wanted hers the day she turned 16. I didn't think she was going to pass it because she doesn't care. So, but she did because she's smart. All right, let me tell you, she's one of those kids that, I know y'all know people like this. Like if I gave her $20 and said, make it to New York tonight, she would do it and have money left over. Like she's, you know, people like that, like got it up. Okay. So she passed that test. I was so mad because I thought, oh, I'm not going to have a baby in the car with me anymore, even though when they're in middle school and high school, isn't that aggravating? When they turn that radio up and it's blasting and I don't like that song and booming and a-doing. And then I'm trying to drive and I feel like when I can't hear, I can't see. Oh, I don't know. It's awful. But she went and got that darn driver's license, and this is how different it was raising her from the first one and the second one. She got that driver's license. My husband and I were sitting there at night, and he said, where is she? And I said, I don't know. And he said, does she have any money? And I said, I don't know. Nobody ever said another word. I'm in love with my girls. I'm in love with them, and they're my best friends, especially as they get older. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But he has been from heaven. Okay, it's so wonderful. All right, well, he got married in September, and when he started bringing his wife around us, he would say to me, you have a terrible look on your forehead. And I would say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. But he said, Mom, she's my best friend, and I want to marry her. They met in college at Berry College, and he said, she's going to be my wife. And so I tried to, it wasn't anything against her. It was anybody that was going to come in and take my boy, because he's the best thing that's ever, all right, he's like the best of their daddy. He's like everything their daddy can't be. Does that make sense? So right before the wedding, he said, Mom, she is my immediate family now. You're my extended. I'm supposed to cleave to my wife. That's biblical. And I said, why did I show him the Bible? But they had a beautiful wedding, and really, when I got in there and the Holy Spirit was there and God was in it, and I knew they were supposed to be together, and I love her. I mean, I love her. She's like another daughter to me now. And but I was freaked out. But everything is okay now. And then I got to thinking, how psycho am I that I want to keep him forever and have him live in the basement and be a weirdo? You know, that's twisted. So I was able to let him go. And I love her. She's like another child. I've got too much estrogen, which evidently makes you hateful and bitter and angry. And so I sweat all night, just like I've done jazzercise in the bed all night. And I wake up, I've got sweat right here in the back of my head. My head just looks like fuzz in the back. And my husband, okay, so I put it on 67, and he says, I can see my breath, and that's a lie. But he's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage, and we've got 2 beagle hounds that we're in love with because his children are gone. And so we've got a big one, and he takes the big beagle and spoons the big beagle at night. And I've got the little beagle, the little pocket beagle that we rescued, and she's got a nervous tick and eats our furniture and our fabric like a goat. But anyway, they sleep in the bed with us, and the bed is so nasty. Okay, so the little beagle, so he's spooning the big one. The little beagle backs her little butthole up to my head and sleeps up against me all night. I love her. And in the morning, I can hear my husband when he gets up, he's kissing that big beagle and he's going, and I'm so thankful. The only thing about having them in the bed really is I tried those eyelash extensions. I paid a lot of money for those, but beagle hair would end up in them, and it itched real bad, so I had to let them fall out. But anyway, he came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie, and we were kissing. I said, oh, that's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You've got your arm around somebody, and then you've got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, can you open this, Mom? I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, because we got 2 in college, we just had 1 get married. But he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone, praise God. I'm in love with my girls. I'm in love with them, and they're my best friends, especially as they get older. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But he has been from heaven. Okay, it's so wonderful. All right, well, he got married in September, and when he started bringing his wife around us, he would say to me, you have a terrible look on your forehead. And I would say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. But he said, Mom, she's my best friend, and I want to marry her. They met in college at Berry College, and he said, she's going to be my wife. And so I tried to, it wasn't anything against her. It was anybody that was going to come in and take my boy, because he's the best thing that's ever, all right, he's like the best of their daddy. He's like everything their daddy can't be. Does that make sense? So right before the wedding, he said, Mom, she is my immediate family now. You're my extended. I'm supposed to cleave to my wife. That's biblical. And I said, why did I show him the Bible? But they had a beautiful wedding, and really, when I got in there, and the Holy Spirit was there, and God was in it, and I knew they were supposed to be together, and I love her. I mean, I love her. She's like another daughter to me now. And but I was freaked out. But everything is okay now. And then I got to thinking, how psycho am I that I want to keep him forever and have him live in the basement and be a weirdo? You know, that's twisted. So I was able to let him go. And I love her. She's like another child to me. And we were going to learn the cha-cha, to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I was going to kill it. Well, one night, he kind of flung me hard, and I thought, oh, something popped. And something doesn't feel right. The next morning, I woke up, and there was this big bulging thing about right here. And I called my girlfriend in Greenville, Tennessee, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said,